The purpose of this portion of the presentation is to share with you ways in which Google Classroom may enhance your vocabulary instruction. I will showcase several assignments I've created for that purpose. The first is an identification activity. On the left-hand side of the screen, students will encounter several Greek and Latin roots. On the right-hand side of the screen, they'll see meanings for that root. To complete the task, students simply need to drag and drop each meaning with its corresponding root. This next activity was designed for specific vocabulary instruction. It is centered around the root port. On the left-hand side of the screen, students will read 4 sentences. Each sentence contains a blank. This blank may be filled by a word from the list on the right-hand side of the screen. Each of the words in this list is built on the root port. So students will read the sentence and then choose the appropriate vocabulary word and then drag and drop the word to its corresponding sentence. I'll demonstrate. My soccer team uses duffel bags to blank all of our uniforms and equipment. The term that correctly completes this sentence is transport. So students will drag and drop that word to the sentence. So we've looked at identification and now analyzation. I also created an assignment that requires students to apply what they have learned thus far concerning Greek and Latin roots and breaking down words to determine meaning. This assignment should be paired with a reading passage, and this selection may be one that's been assigned by the teacher, or it may be one that students have chosen for themselves. While reading the passage, students should choose words from the text with which they are unfamiliar. For the first step of the activity, students will write down the unfamiliar word from the text. The word does not have to be completely unfamiliar, just unfamiliar in terms of the student has never analyzed it, broken it down for word parts for meaning. After writing down the word from the text, the students will then fill in the root that appears in the word and then the meaning for that root. So in step 1, they will write down a word that has been identified. And then in step 2, they will write down a root, or the root that appears in that word, and then the meaning for that root. Next, students will write down a student-friendly definition for that word. They'll fill in a student-friendly definition for that word. And this definition will be based on their knowledge of the root. And of course, they may use their context clues to figure out the meaning of the word as well. Once these 3 steps have been completed, students will then grab a dictionary and check for the denotation of the word. So what they're basically doing is checking what they believe to be the meaning of that word with the actual definition for that word. During this activity, students get an opportunity to take the skills that they've been developing concerning the analyzation or the breakdown of words with roots and use it with their reading. This activity would be an awesome cross-curricular activity as well and may be beneficial in a science or history class. The final activity I share was designed with a specific subset of students in mind. I created this for students who are English language learners. For this assignment, I have given them the root and the meaning of the root as well. Students are tasked with writing down the translation of that root in their native tongue. So I've given them the root and the meaning of the root, and then they can make the connection of the meaning of that root with a word with which they're familiar in their own language. Again, I designed this assignment with the students with which I work in mind, so they will translate it into Spanish. However, this assignment may be adjusted to fit the needs of your classroom. Each of these assignments was created in Google Drawings. There are a number of ways in which Google Classroom can be used to enhance your vocabulary instruction. So again, we have the basic identification, the word part analyzation, the application of word attack skills using word parts, and the interpretation of the roots and their meanings in the native language.